بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على رسول النبي الكريم. So we continue on with Hajj, and previously we discussed regarding the different types of Hajj and who it's necessary on, and we discussed some other rulings related to that. And now we'll start off with the discussion of the method of Ihram, how to don the Ihram. So this is وإذا أراد الإحرام اغتسل أو توضأ والغسل أفضل. Right? So the first, when a person intends to wear the ihram, whether ihram of Hajj or whether the ihram of Umrah, right? So both will be discussed here, just ihram in general. So they will either do ghusl or wudu, right? Some people think ghusl is necessary. Ghusl is not necessary, but ghusl is better. It's better to do ghusl, but wudu also is fine as well. Let's say, for example, you're traveling from here. Let's say you have a layover in Turkey, for example, right? You stop by, you don't have to shower to change into the clothes of ihram, right? You just make wudu ideally. Again, it's recommended. Even if you were to not make wudu, technically it's also fine. But making wudu is recommended. Okay. So not only making wudu, but also, cleaning yourself, cutting your nails, cutting your whatever hair you need to cut, and essentially relieving yourself, of whatever desires and everything else that you have. You should, cleanse yourself of that, and then shower and clean yourself properly. Okay. So it's sunnah to either do ghusl or wudu, but ghusl is better. وَلَبِسَ ثَوْبَيْن جَدِيدَيْن أَوْ غَسِيلَيْن. Right? Then the person should wear two pieces of cloth, right? As we normally wear, the izar and the rida. The izar, which is the lower garment, and the rida, which is the upper garment. And they must either be new or washed or clean, basically. Basically, they must be clean, right? So it's not necessary that they have to be new every single time, but they just have to be clean. وَمَسَّ طِيبًا إِنْ كَانَ لَهُ. And he should wear, again, he should wear some cologne or some perfume if he has. So again, you're wearing the clothes of ihram, you're putting on perfume before entering into the state of ihram. So understand, there's a big difference between the state of ihram and the clothes of ihram. The clothes of ihram are just the pieces of cloth. And the state of ihram is the state that you enter once you are, which we'll explain right now, inshallah. Okay? And so the method of wearing the ihram, I've explained it before, but essentially whatever is comfortable for you, whichever way it's easier for you to move, and in a way that's not revealing your awrah, right? Very important, as I mentioned all the time, that many people, they wear the ihram in such a way that their belly button is showing, for example, or sometimes, if they're walking in a certain way, the knees are, or the thighs are showing, for example, sometimes the lower back may be showing. So this is something which men should be extremely careful of. As for women, as I always recommend, that they should wear some type of hijab that is completely covering, right? That will not get exposed. I've seen many times some women are just wearing like the wrap around, the dupatta, whatever you call it, right? And essentially it's like a lot of the hair is exposed, especially as, Umrah gets a bit complex and a bit difficult, then, they're sweating and the hair starts falling out. That should not be done, right? Instead, make sure your hair is completely covered and you're wearing comfortable, modest clothing. Okay. Then after you wear the clothes and you wear the perfume, Salah rak'atain. It's sunnah to pray 2 rak'at. Right? It's sunnah to pray 2 rak'ats. And then he says, وَقَالَ اللَّهُمَّ إِنِّي أُرِيدُ الْحَجَّ فَيَسِّرْهُ لِي وَتَقَبَّلْهُ مِنِّي. Right? He'll make this dua. Oh Allah. Again, this is just this is the intention, right? So for ihram, to enter into the state of ihram, you need 2 things. You only need 2 things. One is the intention, and the second is talbiyah. ثُمَّ يُلَبِّي عَقِيبَ صَلَاتِ, right? Then he'll make talbiyah after his salah. So essentially, as I said, the clothes are not necessary. For example, right now, as I'm sitting right now, if I were to make the intention of ihram and I were to do the talbiyah, automatically I would enter into the state of ihram. But I'm wearing a topi, I'm wearing clothes, I have all these things on, I would be held liable. I would have to pay compensation. I would have to, essentially make up for all of these mistakes. But at the end of the day, I will enter into the state of ihram even as I am right now. You understand? So I will enter into the state of ihram, but immediately I will have to pay sadaqah for wearing clothes, stitched clothes, for having, and so on and so forth, everything that I'm doing, right? But essentially, if I were to make the intention and talbiyah as I am right now, you enter into the state of ihram. Okay? So very important that you enter into the state of ihram after you wear the appropriate clothing, and salah is recommended. Obviously, wudu or ghusl is recommended. And obviously, putting cologne or perfume on it is also recommended. But the two things, right? Making the intention can be in any language. It can be in English, Arabic, Bangla, Urdu, whichever language is comfortable for you. You make intention in that language. And you make dua, oh Allah, I'm intending to do Hajj or Umrah, whatever. And Ya Allah, accept it from me and make it easy for me. And then you do talbiyah. Talbiyah, as everybody knows, لبيك اللهم لبيك لبيك لا شريك لك لبيك إن الحمد والنعمة لك والملك لا شريك لك. That's the words of the talbiyah. And so once you do these two things, automatically you are into the state of ihram. Everybody understand so far? Any questions so far? Okay. فإن كان منفردا بالحج. Okay. Now, as I mentioned before as well, there are three types of Hajj. Three types. The first is Hajjul Ifrad. Ifrad means individual or alone, right? Standalone, right? So the Hajj al-Ifrad is you are doing Hajj only. You're not doing Umrah and Hajj. You're only doing Hajj. Okay? Meaning when you're wearing the Ihram, you're wearing the Ihram and you're going to go directly into Hajj. This is generally for people who let's say they land in like on the 8th or something, they land in the day before Hajj begins. So in that case, those are the people, they land in and they only do like maybe 5-6 days and in and out basically, right? So Hajj is technically as simple as that, right? You can do Hajj, in that very short amount of time. Now you may be thinking, why is that allowed? Or why is that? And for us, it's very weird, right? Because many of us, we go for Hajj once in our lifetime, right? But imagine people of the past, for example, right? Let's say someone is, it can happen to anybody. Even today, right? Someone lives nearby Makkah. Now they only want to do Hajj, right? They don't want to do Umrah and all of the other, they just want to do Hajj. So for them, they would do Hajj al-Ifrad, right? There's another type of Hajj which is called Hajj al-Qiran. Hajj al-Qiran is that, I'm just giving a brief summary, is that you enter into one Ihram, and with that one Ihram, you do Umrah and Hajj. Okay, meaning after Umrah, you do not cut your hair, you don't exit the state of Ihram, you remain in the state of Ihram until the days of Hajj. So for example, again, let's say for example, someone lands in the 6th of the Hijjah, for example. You do Umrah 6th night, 7th basically, right? The next day you're going to be going to, Mina, for example. So there's no real need for you to exit and then re-enter. It's not a big deal. And it's a bit more virtuous to do this as well, because it's harder. Generally, the rule is al-qadru ala al-ujratu ala qadr al-mushaqqa. Basically, the rule is that the reward is based on or commensurate to the amount of difficulty. So if you're experiencing a lot of difficulty, inshallah, there'll be even more reward. Understand? So some people they do that. Most of us, what we do is what? We do tamattu', which is that a gap. There's a gap, right? So you wear the ihram for Umrah, you do Umrah, you cut your hair, and you get out of the state of ihram. Then you wait a couple of days, and then you re-enter into the state of ihram. Yeah, that's generally what we do, right? So that's known as Hajj al-Tamattu'. Questions? Yeah.
What's the name of the second Hajj after
Qiran. Qiran means to join. Okay. Qaran means to join, right? So Qiran, Qaf, Ra, Alif, Noon. Okay. So now he's saying that if you're only intending Hajj, nawa bi talbiyati al-Hajj, you will make intention for Hajj. Right? If you're intending to do only Hajj, you'll make intention for Hajj. If you're intending to do Umrah and Hajj, meaning Qiran, then you'll make intention for both. And if you make intention if you're only going for Umrah first, then Hajj, then you'll make intention only for Umrah. Even though the journey is for Hajj, the entire journey is for Hajj, but what's the Ihram's intention? What's the purpose of the Ihram? Umrah, not Hajj. right? So you will wear ihram first for Umrah, and then you'll come out of this ihram, then you'll re-enter for Hajj. And then he said, وَالتَّلْبِيَةُ أن يقول لبيك اللهم لبيك لبيك لا شريك لك لبيك إن الحمد والنعمة لك والملك لا شريك لك. That's the talbiyah. ولا ينبغي أن يخل بشيء من هذه الكلمات فإن زاد فيها جاز. Right? It's not necessary to, or it's necessary that this person does not leave out any of these things, right? Right. So, for example, it's not necessary for this person to say exactly as is. I mean, generally we do, right? We generally memorize this dua as it is, and I don't want to confuse you even further. But generally, if there's some back and forth, it's okay, right? So long as you say the majority or the gist of it, right? You do some praising of Allah Ta'ala, intending to enter into the state of ihram, right? So you say labbaik Allahumma labbaik, and then like that would be enough for you to enter into the state of ihram. Let's say somebody forgets the words of talbiyah, it's okay. Generally, if you don't have it memorized, have it written down so that you can memorize it. Otherwise, memorize it. Okay, it's wajib for someone to say these exact words, but if someone uses some other words, they'll enter into the state of ihram. This is being a bit technical here. And then he says, if you do more than this, some people they want to add extra. They say, for example, wallah, I mean, there are different ways. Some people they add extra, right? So in that case, that would be okay as well. But if you're to reduce, if you only say labbaik Allahumma labbaik, that'd be makruh. It's makruh to do it, but technically you would enter into the state of ihram. Okay. فإذا لبى فقد أحرم فليتقي ما نهى الله عنه من الرفث والفسوق والجدال. Now, once you say the talbiyah, you already made the intention. You said the talbiyah. You're now in the state of ihram. And once you're in the state of ihram, then you must avoid all types of haram things. But obviously, you should always avoid haram things. But now you should definitely avoid all types of arguments. You should avoid all types of sins and all types of vulgar discussions. Meaning like wrong discussions. Now the thing is, as every single scholar, anyone you ask advice for, any scholar you ask advice, what will they tell you? They will all say the same exact thing. They'll all tell you, have patience. That's the bottom line of Hajj, that you must have patience. Now it's very easy to hear it. It's very easy to say it. But when you're there and everything that could go wrong is going wrong, it's hard. But everything you're like imagining, okay, the AC is not working, it's burning hot, the water may not be working, the coolers are not working, so it's just hot water in the heat, and everything is going wrong, right? That's just how it is, right? So everything that could go wrong may go wrong, and so therefore you just have to prepare for that, right? And that's why I said I think the first discussion I said that, listen, just assume everything will go wrong, and if things go well, alhamdulillah. Then you'll be grateful. Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah, we have cold water. Yeah, fine, the AC is not working, but at least we have cold water, alhamdulillah. Again, it's expectations. If you set yourself up, I paid $15,000 for this Hajj. I demand 5-star service. You're going to be severely disappointed, right? So you set yourself up. Listen, doesn't matter how much money you spent. They don't care, right? Saudi government doesn't care, right? They don't care about how much money you spent, and there's so many, like for example, the police officers, right? When we went, right? It's like they purposefully ignore what we're asking them, right? They don't care. They're like, you ask them a question, they're like, La nadri, we have no idea, right? And so like they're there just to spray water or something like that. That's the only purpose they're there for. They're not there for like helping you actually, right? So you should know this well in advance. Go with those expectations. ولا يقتل صيدا ولا يشير إليه ولا يدل عليه. This generally doesn't happen to us, but you shouldn't kill any animals like any type of like hunting. You shouldn't do any type of hunting. Nor should you like tell people about, oh, okay, there's an animal right there, kill that animal. You don't do that. Okay. Meaning these are like, like sheep or cattle or deer, which obviously we're not going to find nowadays. Generally the cops, they take care of everything. The police, they take care of all of that. Any questions so far? Okay. وَلَا يَلْبَسُ قَمِيصًا. You should not wear any clothes, upper garments. وَلَا سَرَاوِيل, nor any lower garments. وَلَا عَمَامَة, nor any turbans. وَلَا قَلَنْسُوَ, don't wear any topis, hats either. Right? وَلَا قَبَاء, don't wear any shawls. Right? Don't put a shawl on. وَلَا خُفَّيْن, don't wear any socks. إِلَّا أَلَّا يَجِدَ نَعْلَيْن, except if you cannot find any like shoes. فَيَقْطَعُهُمَا مِنْ أَسْفَلِ الْكَعْبَيْن. So then in that case, you must cut them to be below, below this bone. As I said, right? I've said this before. There is a difference of opinion as to which bone needs to be uncovered in ihram. So some scholars, they say that this bone, the bone of your ankle. Some say that the bone of your ankle. So those of you who can see me, this bone, they say that the ankle bone must be exposed. So therefore, you can cover all of this. You can cover the top bone, right? We say that no, it's the top bone. If you look at your foot, the bone that's on top of your foot, like just like for example, this is your foot, right? This bone right here, right? Just imagine if I'm not gonna pick my foot up, right? But just imagine right your foot and this part right here, this bone. That bone, we say that's the bone that's intended, right? So therefore, you must not you must always expose this bone. For men, we're talking about men, not women. Women can wear shoes, they can wear whatever they want, mashallah. Right? So again, women have it a lot easy, mashallah, right?
Throughout the Umrah.
Throughout the entire Umrah, Hajj, everything. Women are very comfortable, mashallah. Right? We're the only ones struggling. Like seriously, we're like struggling like 4 or 5 days in ihram, and you're like, or not 4 a couple of days in ihram, you're like, oh my God, dude, I need to get out of it. Women are like comfortable, they're wearing normal clothes, convenient, modest, mashallah. They're wearing shoes, socks, all of that. It's okay for them, right? Mashallah. So, anyways, right? Give and take, right? I mean, we give and take. So 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 our scholars, we say that you must expose this bone. So therefore, that means that what? You cannot wear like slides, for example. Like the Nike slides and other slides, they generally cover that bone. So our scholars, we say don't do it. Now, yes, there are some scholars that say that yes, you can cover this bone. Now, why would you, if you're going for Hajj, understand, like go with that mindset. You're going for Hajj, you have to experience those difficulties. So don't do things that would entail sin or some sort of liability according to other scholars. So if some scholars are saying this bone, some scholars are saying this bone, expose both. Leave both of them open. So get the flip-flops. The flip-flops. Get the flip-flops, and that'll expose both of the bones. I say this all the time. I bought one pair of Crocs. Not the covered Crocs. I bought one pair of flip-flop Crocs like 4 or 5 years ago. And I've been wearing the same pair of Crocs for all of my ihrams. I bought an extra pair. I have an extra pair at home. Alhamdulillah, I have not needed it yet. Alhamdulillah. It's working. It's comfortable. You can easily wash it. Crocs, you can easily wash it nicely, mashallah. You just rinse it under whatever, and it's all plastic, right? It comes off very nicely. I'm eco-friendly, brothers. I know some people, they just wear, like, you buy one $5 pair of sandals and you just throw them and you leave them. Yeah, you can do that. I paid maybe $15 or $20. It's not like it was $100. It was like 15, 20 bucks. Bought off Amazon, and then I've been using the same ones for the past 4 or 5 years, alhamdulillah. It works, brothers. Right? So, and obviously, like, you're only in ihram for like a couple of days, right? You're not in ihram for like weeks and months at a time, right? And I do have extra sandals. I don't need it, alhamdulillah, so I don't wear it. Okay, so I bought the same ones. I just bought a different color. I have it at home, just sitting there, just in case. Okay. So he says, okay. وَلَا يُغَطِّي رَأْسَهُ وَلَا وَجْهَهُ. You should not cover your head nor your face. This is all for men, right? Don't cover your head, don't cover your face. Okay. وَلَا يَمُسُّ طِيبًا. Obviously, you cannot touch any perfume. You cannot touch any perfume. So this is such an important topic, right? And I've said this because generally we don't, right? But sometimes forgetfully we touch perfume, right? All the soaps, or most of the soaps, you have to be very careful of, right? Just don't use any normal soap, especially the hotel soaps. Don't even think about it. Mina soaps, maybe. Mina, maybe. I'm not going to say yes. Sometimes, yes, they do have non-fragrance soaps. So then it's okay. But it's better that you take your own. For Hajj especially. So I'll tell you, I'll be honest with you. For Umrah, what I do is I just wear cologne, cologne and I wear regular deodorant. But then for Hajj, I bought what do you call it? The fragrance-free deodorants. Specifically for Hajj, because on Hajj you're in Ihram for longer, right? For an Umrah, you're only in Ihram for like a couple hours, you know. For Hajj, you're in Ihram for like a couple days. So it's better to have fragrance-free, and there are fragrance-free deodorants. I was shocked. And they're fragrance-free, what do you call it? Soap, bars of soap as well. So you can use that as well. Make sure you get them. Like, it's so weird. It's like, it doesn't smell it doesn't, you know how we normally you smell soap and it's like, okay, it smells good. It's weird. It doesn't have a smell. And it's actually harder. Like you have to take out more, but whatever. It's good. Yes.
What if you have fragrance on you before you enter the state of Ihram?
Yeah, so that's fine. As I said, right? Like you should wear fragrance before entering into the state of Ihram. Like I said, I wear deodorant and perfume or cologne before I enter into the state of Ihram. But after you enter the state of Ihram, you cannot touch perfume.
Like, I don't know, touch like your arm, or is it just you can't apply it?
You can't apply new. You can apply. So yes, for example, let's say you have perfume here, for example, that's already applied to your, to your body. Okay.
What about lotion or chapstick?
Avoid all of those. Any fragranced chapsticks or lotion or anything like that, avoid all of that. Right? You should not do that. If you need lotion, then you use the fragrance-free ones. Okay. On that note, I always make this disclaimer. It's a tough disclaimer, but understand the Kaaba is also scented. The Kaaba is heavily scented, right? So if you're touching the Kaaba, just be careful. Especially the Hajar Aswad. Hajar Aswad is heavily scented, right? So when you touch the Hajar Aswad, you will actually, it will transfer to your hands. So be very careful. And depending on how much of your hand touch the perfume or the fragrance, that's how much sadaqah you'll have to give, right? So I'm not and by the way, I'm not discouraging people to touch the Hajar Aswad. I'm just saying that it's give and take. You have to sacrifice here. If you touch the Hajar Aswad, you have to understand that there is fragrance on it. And so therefore, just because it's attached to the Kaaba does not mean that you don't have to give sadaqah or dam,
What if you don't smell? I don't think that
If it doesn't transfer, then it's okay. But if you touch it and then you smell it and yeah, it's on your hands, then yes, that transferred, right? Like for example, let's say 1,000 people touch it before you.
Yes.
In that case, after you touch it, it's likely not there's probably no fragrance remaining on it, right? And just as a thing, I mean, whether good news or bad news, I've never touched the Hajar Aswad.
Yeah, neither have
I haven't, right?
I
I haven't even tried to touch it. Alhamdulillah, I've touched the Kaaba a couple of times, but I've never touched the Hajar Aswad. Why? Because I don't want to push people. I don't want to fight people.
Yeah.
I don't want, see, again, touching the Hajar Aswad, it's good, but it's not necessary, right? It's not necessary to touch the Hajar Aswad. So therefore, why would I do something haram, which is pushing and shoving and fighting people, to go do something which is sunnah, right? So you cannot do something haram to fulfill a sunnah. So I've never even tried to touch the Hajar Aswad. And for touching the Kaaba, alhamdulillah, I've done it without having to push and shove, right? Like, you make your way around, like without having to push and shove anybody, and make this intention that, Ya Allah, I will not push anybody, I will not shove anybody. And then Allah will make a pathway to you, but don't push and shove. There will be other men and women, very aggressive. Some, even women, like men, obviously they do it, which is wrong, right? But women also, you'd think that women would be like a little bit more modest or reserved, right? No, man, women are like pushing and shoving like this, So be careful, yes.
When making tawaf, are you allowed to, or like, is it bad to be on your phone, like take pictures?
Yeah, you should avoid being on your phone, right? Definitely, as much as humanly possible, avoid being on your phone, right? Because there are many people who, for example, they want to document, that experience, right? But in that process of documentation, you are neglecting your responsibilities. So instead of making dua, you're like, showing your cousin back home. You know what I mean? Or you're like, so many people, they're doing this, even till today. You'll see so many people there, in front, when you're going to say salam to Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, you'll see a bunch of people. The one guy's laying on his bed and he's like watching the video. Like, again, that's just He's in bed, bro. He's in Bangladesh, right? He's in Pakistan. He's in India. He's in Somalia, whatever. He's in some other country. Why should he be standing up and like, attire? He doesn't care. He's in his normal bed. He's laying down. He's watching the video, mashallah. And everybody's just doing the same thing. My suggestion is, as much as possible, avoid it. You don't need to. If you take a picture before or after, just as like a commemoration, like, okay, I took a picture, mashallah. I was here this time. That's different, right? Right? But like videoing the entire time, I don't recommend it at all, right? I've said this to all of my friends and anybody who asks me, I tell them don't video, don't record it, leave it. That's a private time. If you need to take a picture afterwards, take a picture before, right? But you don't need to video the entire process, right? And honestly, it's unlikely you're gonna watch it. I'll tell you, right? So for example, I have a 17-minute video. You know what I have as a video of? So in 2021, I went for Umrah. Alhamdulillah, amazing Umrah, meaning it was empty. The Kaaba was empty, right? And the Mataf was empty. Right? Like you were comfortably just walking, like nobody was touching you, nobody. It was so comfortable. You'll never get that. I mean, Allah knows best, but it's unlikely we'll ever get that. Hopefully, we don't get it back. We don't want something like that to happen again. But I'm just saying that it was so empty, right? So alhamdulillah, long story short, I was able to catch first saf in front of the Kaaba, alhamdulillah, right? And now, yes, we could not touch the Kaaba because they put this barrier, but I was first saf, right? So I have a 17-minute video of the entire salah. Right? Now, I have never once in my life watched that entire 17-minute video. I have it, but and it's not like I was holding it. I put it down. I put the phone against my shoes or something, and I left it there. Right? I just put it towards the Kaaba and I left it there, 17 minutes or something like that. Now again, I've never watched it, even though I have it somewhere backed up something, but I never. I remember the memory. The memory is obviously ingrained in my mind, but I'm not going back to those videos, right? So if necessary, take a 10-second video, whatever you need to do. You'll watch those 10-second videos. You're not going to watch a 16, 17-minute video of you doing tawaf or a 45-minute video of you doing tawaf. You're not going to do it, right? Or 2 hours of the entire thing. You're not going to do it. So why?
Also, when I was in Hajj, a lot of people did a toothpaste, and a lot of objections, a lot of people doing that too. Using a muswa.
Yeah. So toothpaste, flavored toothpaste is makruh. Flavored toothpaste is makruh. It's disliked. But it doesn't, you don't have to give any sadaqah or any dam or anything like that. Right? Unflavored toothpaste, that's the best. So natural toothpaste is the best. So for example, Tom's of Maine or some other type of toothpaste, which is natural, that's the best. But even if you use Colgate and Crest and all of these things, it's makruh, but it's still okay. Okay. My recommendation is get your natural toothpaste, Tom's of Maine, whatever else, natural toothpaste, get that. That way, you're avoiding the makruhat. Any other questions quickly? Okay. ولا يلبس ثوبا مصبوغا بورس ولا بزعفران ولا بعصفر إلا يكون غسيلا ولا ينفض الصبغ. Right? He says you should not wear any like type of colored clothes, right? Don't wear like yellow ihram, red ihram. Just a clean and simple white cloth, right? ولا بأس بأن يغتسل ويدخل الحمام ويستظل بالبيت والمحمل ويشد في وسطه الهميان ولا يغسل. Okay, we're almost done. 2 more lines, inshallah, for today. So there's no problem in showering. Many people they ask me, can I take off my ihram? Yes, you can take it off. Again, there's a difference between the clothes of ihram and the state of ihram. So when you take the clothes off, that's okay. You're just removing the clothes of ihram. Right? Many people they have this question, right? Many people they don't understand the difference between the clothes of ihram and the state of ihram, right? Until I say it like this, that there's a difference between the state and the clothes of ihram. Many people they think the clothes is the state, so you must keep the same clothes. No, you can change out. You can take it off, shower with non-scented products, and then put the same ihram back on, or get a new one. Wear a new one. For example, let's say one pair of ihram, let's say a bit dirty, for example, you can shower and then wear a new pair. That's perfectly fine. You can enter the bathroom, obviously. You can, you can take shade from the Kaaba or some canopy, some umbrella, for example. And you can wear like a belt you know, a belt which would like tie the ihram, for example, right? Generally, many people they use like the pouch, for example, a money belt, whatever you want to call it. And that's also good. I recommend it, right? Now, I've said this before, right? I do not recommend carrying your passport everywhere. I don't recommend it. There have been scenarios where people do steal even in the Kaaba. Even in the mataf, people do steal. It is possible. Or it's possible you may lose your passport. You may drop it. You're pulling out your phone and your passport falls off. And before you know it, someone kicks it to somebody else and it's gone, right? It's gone. Like if you lose sight of something or someone, that's something or someone you'll not find again, right? If you lose sight, it's gone, right? So very important that my suggestion is put it inside your locked luggage and leave it in the hotel. Generally, our hotels are like 4-star, 5-star. So like they're generally very good hotels. It's not like somebody's coming into your hotel and like stealing things. Generally, it doesn't happen. But if you do feel not safe, then just lock the hotel, lock the luggage. Most people are not just stealing luggages, in most cases. Especially our scenarios, it's not gonna happen generally, inshallah. Now, now don't do this. Don't come back to me later. My passport was stolen from the hotel. You told me to keep it. Why did you do this? I'm just giving you advice, right? If you take it, that's on you. But alhamdulillah, in my years of experience, alhamdulillah, I've always left my passport in the hotel. I've always. And alhamdulillah, that's served me well, alhamdulillah. So that's my suggestion. Okay. ولا يغسل رأسه ولا لحيته بالختم. Don't put any type of like perfume on your beard, on your hair, no oil, don't do any of that kind of stuff. ويكثر من التلبية عقيب الصلوات. After the prayers, you do a lot of talbiyah. وكلما على شرفا, every time you go up, you do more talbiyah. Every time you come وهبط واديا, or you come down, you do talbiyah. أو لقي ركبانا, you meet some people, do talbiyah. وبالأسحار, in the morning also, do talbiyah. Meaning, just talbiyah all the time. لبيك اللهم لبيك. Just keep repeating that over and over and over and over. You're there for Hajj, right? And you're there thinking about all of these blessed things. So therefore, it's important that you prepare in this manner. Okay? Any questions? We'll stop here, inshallah. Any questions?
So what if you perform the Hajj for Umrah and then that you have to wear new clothes?
Yeah.
What do you have not done so?
So assuming you're doing two different ihrams, yes?
I only had one Umrah. So I did
Yeah,
Umrah, and then the following day I did another Umrah.
Yeah, you can wear the same ihram.
But I didn't wash it or anything.
It's okay.
So that's
It's okay. So long as it's not dirty. So long as it's not like there's no like stains or some, like when I say dirty, I mean like napak. Like,
The importance of the miqat, is that correlate with the state of ihram?
Yes. So you must enter into the state of ihram prior to passing the miqat.
Okay.
And so generally if you're flying in, you must wear the ihram before Jeddah.
Right.
Well before, like 10-15 minutes before, that's generally where the miqat boundaries are, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you should be wearing the ihram and in the state of ihram at least half an hour before.
Yeah.
Before you land, right? If you're driving or if you are taking the train from Medina, my recommendation is wear the clothes of ihram from the hotel and enter into the state of ihram on the bus or on the train.
Okay.
Right? So that way you don't have to change your clothes. You're already wearing the clothes, but the state you enter once the train is departing. Why? Because the miqat, let's say Medina is here, for example. This is Medina, for example. The train is leaving from Medina, for example, here. The miqat boundaries are right here. So maybe 10-15 minutes after the train departs, that's when it'll pass miqat. So therefore, once the train starts moving, that's when you know that 100% the train is moving now, right? Hypothetically, Allah forbid, let's say you get on the train, you enter into the state of ihram, then they say, oh, train's broken, train can't move. So you got to get off. You have to take tomorrow's train. And what happens? You're in ihram and you're in the state of ihram for one more day. It's harder. It is a bit more difficult. So that's why I say once the train starts moving. Yes, let's say the train starts moving. You get in the state of ihram. It's possible. It is possible that the train breaks halfway. It is possible. But again, that's out of your control, right? So whatever is within your control, you should do it. So enter into the state of ihram once you are almost confirmed that you are there. So for example, if you have a layover from here to Turkey, then from Turkey to Jeddah, for example, right? don't enter into the state of Ihram here. Why? Because it's harder. Enter into the state of Ihram in Turkey, right? Because Turkey is well outside of the boundaries.
Yeah, same with like Egypt or something.
Any of those. Yeah.
Can you elaborate a little bit more on when your ihram is considered dirty and like what to do when
Yeah.
it does get dirty during like
So as I said, when I said dirty, I mean like impure, right? So meaning like urine stains or some type of like impure stains on it, right? That's number one, right? If it's just dirty itself, you don't need to change it, but you should change it. If it's like really smelly and all that stuff, change it. It's better to change it, you know? But if it's impure, you must change it. It's like your clothes, right? Like if your clothes are smelly, you should change it. If your clothes are dirty, you must change it. Same thing. Try to wash it off. Mud may not be impure, but it's better to wash it off if you can. If you cannot wash it off, and generally ihram dries pretty quickly. It's like a towel, right? So it generally dries pretty quickly. So that's also fine. If you wash it, it's not that complicated.
What's the gap between Umrahs? Is it 6 hours or? Like,
How long does Umrah take?
No, like the gap between like from one and what's like, can you do another one the same day or
You can do as many as you like.
don't you have to wait for the hair to grow or? Like,
No, you don't have to wait for the hair to grow. You don't have to wait for the hair to grow or anything. You just keep shaving. Just run the blade over. That's it. Any other questions? Okay, we'll stop here, inshallah. We'll continue next week, inshallah.